And remember, if I can cook it, so can you. So go nowhere. Let's create. So I have a rabbit that's already skinned and clean. All you have to do actually is cut it into, the size that you want to cut, whether, the legs or whatever you want to call it, and the hinge, cut it into pieces, then cut the other side, and do your thing. I'm not going to invest too much on this part because I already have a video how to do that. I'm going to put the link in the description so you know how to do this. The only thing I'm not going to cook from this rabbit are the two legs because I might use them for some paella, traditional paella with rabbit, which is the traditional way. So I'm going to put that aside. The other stuff, including the torso, I cut in chunks because I'm preparing stew. You know what I mean? So all you need is salt, using sea salt, somewhat generous in the amount. Some black ground pepper. I'm going to use fresh thyme. See how fresh? Just going to take it from the little sticks. I'm giving those aromatics. And I'm going to grab a tube of garlic. I'm going to mince it on top. And you can either put this in the refrigerator overnight or prepare this about maybe an hour before everything. So you can do this first, then you do the pumpkin and you start playing around with everything else. So give it about maybe 45 minutes to an hour. But here you're going to mix things up. Make sure the salt, the pepper, everything is distributed well. So there are three tips that I'm going to give you now so you don't mess this up by accident. Number one, make sure that when you cut the hole is big enough so you can fit the food that you're going to put here. Number two, you're going to get the seeds out, but don't throw them away. This is tip number two. Put them aside because you can actually roast them or do something else and create a very nice snack. So don't throw them away. Put them aside. Tip number three, people sometimes don't know how much they're going to cook or the ingredients because they miscalculate the volume. What I do is I measure by putting some water temporarily. So that's 2 cups. That's 4, and so on. Once you estimate how many cups, and you don't fill it all the way to the top, just keep it about an inch below. Once you figure out how many cups you have there, remove the water, put it somewhere else, because you're not going to need it. And now you have an idea. That way you don't cook directly here. You cook, and part of the cooking process you transfer here. So measure the volume. So you're going to have some celery. For the carrots, simple. Make sure you peel them. And after you peel the outside, the stuff on the top, cut it out. And what you're going to do is cut them into pieces and then you cut them again. Also going to have 2 or 3 tomatoes, maybe 2 might be sufficient. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mince these babies. In addition to the ingredients I already introduced to you, make sure you have some cilantro. Not a lot, if you leave a potato peel cut into pieces, onion, about quarter of an onion, chop. Make sure you have some more ground black pepper, coriander. And this is, I'm talking about maybe half a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon. Salt for taste, about 3 or 4 teeth of garlic, which you're going to mince. A little bit of turmeric. Therefore, you have some paprika. I'm going with the small paprika, about a teaspoon. I also have some saffron, optional. Optionally, you can have some mushrooms if you want to. And I have some fresh thyme and some fresh rosemary. And remember to have some extra virgin olive oil, some butter, and water. The water you can substitute with broth, vegetable broth, your choice. First thing, going to put some extra virgin olive oil. So this is a medium high hot pan. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to brown these babies. And you let them brown for a few minutes, give it a nice color. Set about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Like maybe 3 minutes on one side, 3 minutes on the other. You know the drill. After a couple of minutes, just going to flip them. Turn it off, put it aside. So now I'm going to use a pot. And I'm going to transfer some of the grease from here into here. Just a little bit. The onions. Add your mushrooms now. You can add some of the habanero pepper if you want it spicy. Or you can use some regular bell pepper. It's up to you. Add some of the cilantro. No all, just some. You can add half for now. This is a medium high. You can put some of the potatoes now. Some of the carrots. Tomato. On top of the tomato, add some of that turmeric and the other spices. Mix things around for a little bit. You can grab some of this garlic. Mince it on top. Doesn't have to be pretty or perfect. Mix things around. And mix things around. Add some vegetable broth. And I actually have about 4 cups here. Increase the heat a little bit. That's about a couple notches below high. and you want to give it a taste to see if you need to add some salt. I will add additional salt. This is a little bit spicy, by the way, which is very nice. Mix things around. I'm going to add a couple cups of red drinking wine to darken and add a nice taste to the rabbit. And I'm going to add several string of saffron. I'm going to smash it in my hands, and I'm going to add it. Wine is optional, but I like it with rabbit, so it's going to be wine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat this up and get those flavors together and mix for about 8 minutes before I transfer everything to the pumpkin. Let me cover this up. This is how it looks after 10 minutes. I'm going to pull out here. And I'm preheating the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So once the oven is preheated, I'm going to show you what is the next step. So what I'm going to do now, I have some melted butter here, little brush. And I'm going to apply it on the walls of this pumpkin. In Brazil, what they do in Brazil, they put cream cheese on the sides and inside the walls. I don't like cream cheese like that. Now that the oven is preheated, what you're going to do, you're going to start transferring some of this stuff from here to here. Make sure the vegetables are transferred to, the broth, definitely the meat. You can add your celery now, which I didn't do earlier because it cooks so fast. So add some of your celery, whatever you need, and continue adding to the pumpkin from here. Isn't that beautiful? And now it's time to add some of the thyme on top. And you want to put some of the rosemary. And now you're going to cover this baby and transfer to the oven. Make sure the top of the pumpkin is not touching the solenoids. I grabbed some of the liver, cut it into little chunks. This is from the rabbit. Put a little bit of garlic, use some of the butter that was melting earlier. Add some salt. Getting some sort of snack, you know what I mean? So it's been 45 minutes. So what I'm going to do, final touch, some cilantro. And I'm going to put it back in. I'm going to let it cook for another maybe 10, 15 minutes.